Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. And now here is the fatalistic and pessimistic Voice of Doom. Hi, everybody. Didn't really even want to do a diatribe because there hasn't even actually been a major disaster in like 36 hours, unless something's happening now that hasn't gotten to me yet, but no major disasters, even though they're talking about an inevitable one coming. And they were right about the last one because they were warning people before the last explosion, and sure enough, and they're warning people now. Not on American media, but Gravitas is saying people are being told to get away from the airport. And I guess I saw another thing. I didn't even get into it. I just saw that the Taliban are in the airport now. So I guess they're taking over operations there because Americans are just dying too fast. Now, I was browsing through my videos and watching them over again to see how close I was to what was going to be happening. Pardon me. But like I said, it's digital masturbation to me, which is kind of all I got right now. And so I watch myself for long periods of time to see what I was saying, and sometimes I see where I could have been better, or I could have put things a little better. And if we have time later, and by time I mean if we survive later, I'll try to correct some of those faux pas I made and awkward things, because unlike that substance that's running the administration, I like to go back and correct so that people don't misunderstand. I really don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I mean, their karma, I'm not going to get into that, because I was browsing and noticed a hurricane, and it's kind of like, wow, that looks kind of big. And it turns out that, yeah, there is a hurricane on the south coast of Louisiana, and it's heading straight toward the parishes that got hit with Katrina. And I go onto the live feed, and they're talking about, yeah, this is going to be as big as Katrina that happened 16 years ago. And I'm like, no way. Katrina was like 4 or 5 years ago. And it's like, it was 16 years ago. What did I do with my life? That seems like just yesterday. But it was 16 years ago, and I'll tell you about Katrina, and it's kind of an aside, but it's going to lead up to my apocalyptic pronouncement. When Katrina was coming, it was a big deal, and everybody battened down the hatches, and everybody stripped the stores dry, and everybody bought as much gas as they could. And it was a big one, and it went through. And that night, when it was hitting landfall, we were watching it on TV at the casino at work, and said, "Oh, this isn't as bad as they said it was going to be. Yeah, it's windy, and there's a big the tide is up a bit. But if this is the worst of it, then it's probably not that bad." Well, what happened was the next day all the levees broke because they found out they were made of cardboard. They found out that their corruption all these years finally paid off when all the levees broke. And I mean, the water rushed through that whole area. Thousands of square miles of area flooded. It was a mess, and the aftermath was disgusting because people had to live like animals. They had to herd together in arenas, and there was atrocities going on in America. Just, it's going to show you what's going to happen, because if a hurricane can cause people to be pressed into an arena and be put on their roofs and be stuck, and then be having a political argument about who was rescued and who wasn't, and that whole mess of everything, and bad things, just the aftermath. It was a horrible mess. Now this thing looks like it's just as bad. And it really is coming at an interesting time because apparently it's going to hit landfall around the 30th of August. That'll be just about the time that everybody's really starting to panic and go up and, have conniption fits somewhere in Afghanistan where there's something else going on. So August 30th, that's going to be an interesting day. We got a major hurricane hitting the south on the same day that it's starting to pull up stakes like there's, what are you going to do? Well, we're going to leave you 5 here and we'll pick you up on the next round. The last 5 Marines. I mean, come on. They're going to leave en masse if they're told to. And they'll probably be told to because we're going to fly you over to New Orleans because we got stuff to do there now. So I'm just finding it interesting. This is all happening at the same time. And when I'm looking at comments on the side, it's kind of like things are getting more like everybody's, Oral Roberts or Rex Humboldt or Humbard or whatever the hell his name is. These doom and gloom preachers from the 80s. That's all I'm seeing on the chat, like everybody's getting on their knees and praying. Like everybody's doing the Lord's Prayer, and it's kind of like, wait a minute. I'm the voice of doom here. And I was the voice of doom, and I refuse to see everybody jump on the doomsday bandwagon and try to claim it as their own. I've been the voice of doom for many, many decades. And it's not a point of pride. It's just a point of, you're not listening to me, and now I'm going to be forgotten. Nobody's going to even know enough to forget me. That's great. I kind of put a lot into these videos. If you look back at the things I've said, but nobody will. And that's why the digital masturbation, because I'm the only person, apparently I'm the first person to be addicted to himself. So it's an interesting phenomena. Maybe I'll write a treatise on my own self-addiction and maybe make a few bucks that way. But I'll have to word it in very philosophical and clinical terms. I'm going to take the data. Well, today I looked at myself. Yes, today I looked at myself. I know, I'm rambling, but I'm seeing not Armageddon. That's going to come a few weeks from now. But I'm seeing the apocalypse. I'm seeing a lot of confluences of disaster, just like it's happened all through history. 13th century Japan, look at it. Nobody does. Nobody. There's about 200 people in the country that look at 13th century Japan and see what we're up against. Now, there's more confluences. And that's why I can't think straight, because we got 5 days. It's inconceivable that they would stick to that timetable to me. So I don't even like to say 5 days, because if they stick to that timetable, it's over. We got a hurricane in 2 days. And on the 31st of August, it will be fully engulfed into the land. And if they built the levees with the same materials as the last time, which they probably did, there'll be people on top of roofs and there will be people in stadiums. While we have a COVID so-called virus going on, pandemic. So pack into the stadiums because you're refugees in America from the hurricane, and don't forget your masks. And nobody will be let in without a mask. And it'll probably get worse from there. I won't even say that because I'll be banned. Yeah, confluence, pandemic, hurricane, horrible situation, Afghanistan. I mean, that's 3. Just without even thinking, can I come up with a 4th? Us hating each other, us having no means to come to any conclusions. Little things like hyperinflation, they're not noticeable right now yet. Well, people notice them, but they're going to really notice them. They're going to notice them when everything on the shelf that's on the shelf is 10 times more than it was. And gas. Now, I can just see the hurricane going through Louisiana. I guess they probably have a lot of oil refineries there. That's what happened last time anyway. So already gas is at $4 for no reason other than the fact that, and I'm not going to even say, just decided to, cut off our supplies of energy as best he could. And now $4, people are having a conniption fit. Well, what about $8? And that might be conservative estimate, but at least 6. And people are going to have a cow at 6, because I don't think we've ever seen 6 across the board. I don't think we've seen 6. And people are going to just be apoplectic, and they're going to be even more apoplectic when the bombs go off. And they're not just going to go off in America, because we were the betrayers and the treacherous fiends. It's going to go off in Germany, it's going to go off in England, it's going to go off in every country possible, just to make a point, just to drive home the point that look what America did. Because I don't care who did it. I don't care if it's Haqqani. I don't care if it's Al-Qaeda. I don't care if it's Taliban. I don't care if it's an amalgam of all of them. I don't care if it's Iranian. I don't care if it's Turkmenistan. There's radicals in every country. I don't care if it's ISIS-K, which I believe stands for, I had it here somewhere, Khorasan. I'll get the right word later. I don't want to hunt for it. It's Khorasan or something. It's a province. It's an area, East Persia during the 7th and 8th century. These guys want to go back to the 7th and 8th century. They want a Persian reemergence of a caliphate across the world. And they'll get us eventually after the rubble is cleared. But, yeah, Confluence. How many things? 5, terrorist threats imminent everywhere, including the Hamid Karzai airport. Hurricane, a horrible, horrible humanitarian problem in Afghanistan. I'm going to separate that from terrorism. They're two separate things. Pandemic and the repercussions of that, and hyperinflation, and the gas prices going up to $8. So enjoy what's left of August, because September is going to be horrible. And by September 11th, I can't wait to see the unmentionable fiend's speech to say how well we're doing after that awful attack 20 years ago. I'll leave it at that. I think I said a lot. I think I was very effective this time because I didn't plan it. I just said, this is how it is. We're kind of all doomed. I'm sorry. I apologize for being the bearer of bad tidings, but that's it. You can post this. You can all not see it. And I feel better. Bye.